Hi, this is Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot, Whistleblower Radio, and I'm very happy to be here this morning. It's morning in California, and we have a very interesting show today with Ben Murphy, who is going to be talking about the Heather material as well as his own experiences. He's been kind enough to come on the show with me today, and that should be very fascinating. If you're not already familiar with the Heather material, then I encourage you to listen to the video or MP3, however you want to do it, on our website, which is ProjectCamelotPortal.com, and my website, ProjectCamelotProductions.com. So either one of those URLs will take you to the Heather material. You'll see a picture on the front. Just click on the picture and you'll get to the page, and that would be great. About the second hour, we're going to be taking calls, and what I mean by that is that you can go into the chat, which is linked on our front page of the portal, I believe, and also on ArgusoogRadio, and you can go in and post questions there, and then we'll attempt to answer them. You can ask questions about Camelot, our guests, my latest interviews with Bob Dean, Laura Knight-Jedzik, or whoever, and I encourage you to do that on the last hour. Meanwhile, we have Ben Murphy here, and we could even get a surprise phone call. I am hoping from Heather herself. So we're ringing Ben at Productions.com. So either one of those URLs will take you to the Heather material. You'll see a picture on the front. Just click on the picture and you'll get to the page, and that would be great. About the second hour, we're going to be taking calls, and what I mean by that is that you can go into the chat, which is linked on our front page of the portal, I believe, and also on ArgusoogRadio, and you can go in and post questions, and then we'll attempt to answer them. You can ask questions about Camelot, our guests. Ben, you need to, are you there, Ben?
Okay, yes, I'm sorry, I turned off the radio.
Great, because you can't listen and be on the radio at the same time.
Okay.
So how you doing?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing fine at the moment. Thank you for asking.
Well, I'm very happy to have you on the show, and I'm really glad that you're willing to do this. I think it's very very brave of you under the circumstances, and I know we've got a tremendous amount of controversy going on around the Heather material and who Heather is and whether Heather really exists and so on. And I'm hoping that maybe for the people that are listening who haven't already, heard our initial interview, I guess we did that back in October or November, maybe you could go over how you got in touch with Heather, how it all started, and your role in it.
Sure. Okay, well, it started off with Heather contacting not myself or my wife. She contacted our mother-in-law when we came up to Orlando in 2005. She got in contact with my wife's mother-in-law, Marva, and she wanted to basically find us because she wanted to speak to my wife about some things. So when she got in contacted, the mother-in-law then put us in contact with her, and we took everything from there. So that's how our initial first contact was made. Now, Kenya already knew Heather from school and going to school with them. They went to different high schools, and in my wife's senior year, she changed schools and she went to a different one, and that's basically when they kind of broke contact for a while. And we'd been down in Fort Lauderdale for the longest time. So coming back up here, my wife was reconnecting with some of the people that she already knew. And I didn't know Heather at all. So I was kind of thrown into the mix with it. And when I met her, she was very nice, very polite. I learned she'd been in the military, and that was all it was initially. but then she started coming over and contacting us more, and she seemed to be progressively very anxious, I should say. She's very anxious about certain things that were going on in her life. She talked to my wife more than she talked to me, but she didn't open up to me until she actually started coming here and staying with us. Okay?
Yes. And so if you could explain what was going on with Heather at the time, and just in terms of chronology, when did she start to become, I guess, go on the run, or at least were you in contact with her before she went on the run, or only after?
I would say that it was obviously after. She didn't start running, in my opinion, or she didn't tell us she'd started actually what she was doing until the beginning of last year. It was the beginning of last year because with her work, she would disappear. You have to understand, she would disappear for months on end, and we'd be like, "Well, have you heard from her recently?" "Oh, she's working." Then, the usual. We never paid too much attention to it because people in the military, obviously, we both on both sides. We had family in the military. We were used to them going away, used to them coming back. You never really know too much about it unless you actually really connected with them. If they say they're going away, they're going away. They could be going anywhere or doing anything. And this was the case with Heather. Apparently, even my wife said that she kept a lot of it close to her chest. She didn't talk a lot about it. She was talking about when they got together, they like to catch up, talk about previous things they'd done, the usual stuff, clubs they used to go to, people they haven't seen, people they went to school with, hangouts. But there was just something about the woman herself that bothered me a little bit. Like, it was something underneath the surface. And my wife said the same thing. There was something going on, but obviously we didn't know what it was. And then one time, it was the beginning of last year, she came to us. And we had to, I'm sorry about that. She asked if she could stay with us for a while. So we said, yeah, sure, you can stay with us for a little while. What's going on? And that's when she started to open up to us a bit more.
Okay, just offhand, were you able to get in touch with her since we talked and planned to do the radio show?
No, I wanted to. I did send her an email, for the email that I was given, but, for some reason, she's not wanting to contact us or speak to us in any way, shape or form. Or not me. She hasn't contacted me. I don't believe she's contacted my wife. I've heard nothing, so I don't know I honestly don't know what she's going on. I don't know where she is or what she's doing. I have been told that she has contacted some of her older friends in Orlando and she's still in contact with them and contact with some of her friends in New York.
Okay. And why don't you, I want to go into the detail about the Heather material and what you know, but why don't you also explain a little bit about your background and, how you grew up and, you're British, right?
Yeah.
So, could you explain a little bit about, the fact that the military background that your family has and a little bit about your personal background?
Okay, sure. My background, obviously I'm British. My father was in the Royal Navy. My mother, spent a little bit of time in the forces. And it's basically a naval family. My grandfather was, my cousins were, my uncle, even my aunt was, my grandmother was even, a Wren back in the day. So, it was expected for me to go into the Navy as well, because everybody else has, but I didn't do that. Now, my parents were taken and stationed in Hong Kong back in the 80s, and that's where we spent a lot of time. We actually moved quite a few times. We were in Plymouth in England, then we moved up to Portsmouth, back down to Plymouth, then to Hong Kong, then we got moved back to Portsmouth, then we got moved back to Hong Kong, then we were in Singapore, so it was moving all over. But I had a bad experience